Right now, University of Arkansas police trying to track down an early morning attacker. You take a look behind me at this debris. It's what used to be a roof. Now it's just mangled metal.
How do they know what each other are wearing every day? Do they just call each other up and say, hey, I'm going to wear my red blazer and my white shirt?
And she ultimately decides who comes in and out of these doors and who gets access to your children.
Yeah, Trey, it was nice to see Bobby Knight there on the left. I'm a former Hoosier, so you always got to love Bob Knight.
So there's 9 altogether of these picture stations located right in the maze, and I'm going to take a much-needed break to color.
Armed with a smartphone and a few bucks, you can dine on a discount all day long, but you have to have the right tools. Kids were picking up trash on school property, but it's no punishment. Are you treading water that entire time?
Oh, yeah.
That looks so, I mean, you're treading water, you're throwing a volleyball. It's so intense.
It's not a volleyball, it's a water polo ball. Get it right, Kat.
But that's not what's scary. The community of Aurora is losing the building that brings them together, essentially brick by brick.
Bentonville police have now arrested 28-year-old Zachary Hawley. New information tonight as medical marijuana is making its way back to the ballot.
So I got a team here to help me annihilate the zombie paintball village. We're on the trailer right now on the way. Let's hope that we win.
I bet Trey was really upset about having to go to Arizona. I mean, down there just wearing a T-shirt.
Yeah,
it seemed like it's such a
looked
punishment.
tough in the short sleeves with the sun shining.
Gosh, I just can't imagine.
Well, that was a learning experience.
In just 24 hours, a whole new set of keys swooped in to save the day.
Trey Dare is saying that fainting goats faint to defend themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that.
Like playing dead.
Good evening, I'm Cassidy Hodges. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, breaking news out of Rogers, where a plane has crashed at the municipal airport. According to Rogers Fire Chief Tom Jenkins, there were 4 people on board a small plane coming from Tennessee when the aircraft lost control because of weather problems. The wing was snapped off and the plane had to make an emergency landing at the Rogers Airport. Now, all 4 people on board were treated at the scene and released. The plane was leaking gas when it landed, but the fire department quickly got the situation under control. And the downturn of our economy has claimed yet another victim. One of only 2 Catholic schools in Northwest Arkansas will be closing its doors. KNWA's Rebecca Jeffrey has more on how the school hit the tipping point.
I'm Rebecca Jeffrey for KNWA Northwest Arkansas News.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Some students looking for financial help were busy filling out forms for College Goal Sunday. Volunteers at Rogers High School were on hand to help fill out the free application for federal student aid, also known as the FAFSA. Organizers say many of the students who showed up today will be first-generation college students, so it's a learning experience for the kids and their parents. The volunteers were on hand to help fill out the lottery scholarship applications, and services were also provided for Spanish-speaking students. Now, if you've got little ones at home, kindergarten registration in Rogers starts this week. According to the district, your child must be 5 years old on or before August 1st of this year to enroll. Sign-up dates are this Tuesday from 8 to 6 and Wednesday from 8 to 4. Registration forms can be filled out at home or at school. For all the details, just head to our website, nwahomepage.com. And around Arkansas, it's crunch time at the state capitol as legislators rush to meet the filing deadline. Arkansas lawmakers are racing to put the final touches on bills that could soon change state laws. First, they have to file them, and some have waited until the last minute. Now, another baby bill is on the docket tomorrow at the state capitol. Senate Bill 417 changes the definition of an unborn child in the criminal code. Right now, criminal charges can only be pressed if the fetus is at 12 weeks or later. But Senator Jim Hendren wants to change the definition, making a fertilized egg count as an unborn child. That would mean if a fetus is killed at any stage in development, the person could face criminal charges unless the death results from a legal abortion or from the fault of the pregnant woman carrying that fetus. And with recent legislation, the natural state now home to the most restrictive abortion law in the country. On Thursday, a new law was passed banning abortions at 12 weeks into a pregnancy. That's when a fetal heartbeat can typically be detected by an abdominal ultrasound. The ban sets up the sharpest challenge yet to Roe v. Wade, passed 40 years ago by the U.S. Supreme Court. But the ACLU claims the 12-week abortion law is headed to the federal court and an eventual overturn. Well, in Fayetteville, residents will have a chance to voice their opinions on their proposed downtown parking deck this week. The city will host a public input session on the design Tuesday at City Hall. They plan to have a brief presentation of the design options being considered. Now, for more information on this input session or the overall project under discussion, just head over to our website. And a Springdale man accused of murder is due in court tomorrow. 23-year-old Tremel Overton was arrested in August after police found his 2-month-old stepson unresponsive and not breathing. The baby was taken to the hospital but died. Prosecutors expect to set a new trial date for Overton at tomorrow's hearing, as the state crime lab is still working on the case. Overton remains in the Washington County Jail on a $100,000 bond. And the Bella Vista Fire Department is looking for a few good folks to help put out flames in the community. The requirements? You must be a high school graduate with a current EMT license with a willingness to work nights, weekends, and holidays. For information on how to apply, contact the Bella Vista Fire Department or just hop on the city's website. The application deadline is March 25th. Well, this morning, I'm sure we all felt the effects of daylight saving time, but could the spring forward be hitting your wallet? A new study says yes. We'll tell you about it later in the show.
They're going to be helping you up top, keeping you straight.
I'm here to do rock climbing, which I've never done before.
At just 15 years old, Jonathan Barrientos is no stranger to obstacles.
I have CP, cerebral palsy, which affects part of my brain. It affects the part of my brain on my walking and my learning a little bit.
But his disability hasn't stopped him from joining in on outdoor education at Rogers High School.
Make sure my straps are correct.
In Mr. Bell's class, I done a lot of things that I never thought I would be able to do.
I'm gonna get you tied in before we get too close.
Like rappelling off a cliff.
It was kind of fun knowing that you're gonna do something that you're gonna have in your memory for the rest of your life.
2, 3, there we go.
Right off the bat, we were like, well, this is going to be incredible. He's going to have every experience that every kid has.
This will be your brake ropes.
And with a little extra help,
Oh, snap.
that mentality is catching on.
There's nothing you can't do. Even if you put your mind to it, you can do it. That's what I'm learning.
A lesson stemming from a few field trips with some very dedicated teachers.
They don't see your disability, they just see you. People telling you you can do it and stuff like that, it gives your hopes up.
And now, Jonathan, hoping his new hobby will encourage others with disabilities to live life to the fullest.
It all depends on you, how you want to live your life.
I'm Cassidy Hodges for KNWA Northwest Arkansas News.
She was just a bright 6-year-old little girl.
In the midst of sadness, an aunt taking a moment to remember a life taken too soon.
She's just a bright light. She took good care of her little sister, and she's just a light. She lit up her room everywhere she went.
And even though she's gone, lights are shining bright in her memory tonight.
We have a memorial garden where there are several children who have died as a result of abuse.
The Children's Advocacy Center of Benton County holding a prayer vigil and adding another statue in memory of the 6-year-old found dead Tuesday morning.
She was really strong. She was extremely strong.
Even though she just celebrated her 6th birthday this weekend.
The young ones are supposed to bury the old ones. This is not the right way.
A tragedy that Benton County advocates say they've never seen before.
These are our children. This is our future. You know, no matter what we experience day to day, our children should never have to suffer.
Well, I'm not supposed to be living here.
It's been more than a year since Leila Rose and her family began calling this Fayetteville duplex home.
I mean, I've cleaned the cabinets, of course, but, you know, it's still in the back of your mind. Maybe you missed a spot.
Because just 3 years ago, this living room told a very toxic tale. It's a story this family didn't know until we knocked on the door.
We were wondering if you knew that before you guys lived here, your house was a meth lab that was never cleaned up.
It's news to me.
In 2008, police took products used to make meth, like these, from the house and flagged it as a contaminated property, legally prohibiting anyone from entering the residence because of the health hazards these chemicals can pose.
You have a lot of red phosphorus, you have solvents, you have uric acid. All these things, you know, in and of themselves can be very dangerous.
The fumes can seep in as deep as the sheetrock and remain toxic for years.
It's an expensive process to clean up a meth lab.
Sergeant Jason French with the Fayetteville Police Department tells me despite the harm, a lot of these properties aren't ever checked, leaving victims like Leila in the dark.
I didn't do anything wrong, so why should my family have to suffer for something that somebody else did?
The Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality maintains the list of contaminated meth houses that need to be cleaned. But ADEQ doesn't have a policing body to make sure houses on the list stay empty.
I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. I just don't know I mean, I can't afford to go out and get a new place. I mean, so I just don't know. I'm kind of stuck.
A family trapped in a house where breathing could be dangerous, even deadly.
My kids have asthma, and my son, you know, I'm worried about both of my kids.
If it's not properly cleaned up, it's certainly a concern, especially for children.
And police tell me the landlord was informed about the situation in 2008, but still, the house remains on ADEQ's list.
It makes me very mad, you know, that they could put mine and my children's health in danger like that, and why do they want to do that to somebody's family that's innocent, you know? I had no clue.